What a song. Holy. Nice shirt. Thank you, Tom. I got it today. Today America and myself went shopping. Oh, I gotta turn the audio off from my phone. We went shopping to get my disco outfit for the Big Brother 26 premiere. It was a disco night. I have to be, set up for that. Cory, how much do you love me? Noah is Grodner. Is that who I think it is? Because that'd be crazy. Card Girl, thanks for the sub. 7 months. How are y'all? Finally a good Hawaiian shirt. What do you mean, finally? You want to elaborate? It is? Do you want me to out you in chat? Because I don't know if this is a popular place for... for your kind, Noah. But what's up? So we're disco set. This is not my disco shirt, but we did get one. It's kind of a see-through Hawaiian, so the free the nipple click should be pretty excited about it. Grodner's here? Not exactly. But today we've got a very exciting stream. I'm pretty pumped up. I think it's gonna be good. First of all, I have some things I would like to address. Let's start the stream clearing up some misconceptions. Because I saw a certain tweet, which I actually agreed with quite a bit. It says, we failed them when voting for AFP. Let's not make the same mistake again, talking about Suri and Felicia. What's up, Noah? And this person, Julie Chen's Toe, never realized the name, brutal name, says a certain group of stans failed them, but I fear that is too political of a discussion for BB Twitter. Now, you all did this. This is true. And I found out that America and myself were the Bernie Sanders of BB25 AFP vote. Is that correct? I think that tracks, right? And look, I'm team vote for Bernie. Bernie or bust. It's Americory or bust, right? And big CBS had to shut down Americanized campaign, taking out all the billions and billions of legal votes that all came in at the same time from a data bank in Yugoslavia. It's fucked up. Absolutely not okay. Bernie Sanders is a little too communist for me. Balloon horses, you're walking a tightrope. There is no diversity of thought allowed in this chat. Yeah. Noah, why'd you do that? That's fucked up. So I thought this was a funny tweet. I like this. Skyrocket, thanks for the prime. I appreciate you. A couple more things. A new reality show was announced somewhere. I don't know. It's called The Anonymous. Let me just check. I thought I pulled up the link. Here it is. Hosted by Kat Dunn with Xavier, Nina, this is Sandra's daughter, I believe, and then Andy from Firefest. Crazy casting. In our casting bag for this one. And let me say, people are like, yo, Xavier is the worst Big Brother casting ever. He's so boring. I think Xavier is perfectly fine. Likable dude, not bad in DR. I enjoyed Xavier, especially on reindeer games. Kind of, like, really, why are y'all using this energy on Xavier? He's a nice guy. Seems good. Is fine for a show that nobody's going to watch. Look, I'm down for more good reality shows. It does feel a little bit oversaturated. Charlie? Pharrell King Lover in the chat? Get out of there. But yeah, so here's Xavier. And then some other people. I don't know. I think there's definitely an oversaturation of reality TV right now, but we move. If it's a good show, I'll watch it. What the fuck is USA Network? I mean, didn't E have House of Villains. Like, all these different networks are jumping in. The truth is, reality TV is a lot cheaper to produce than scripted, and that's why we're seeing a lot more of it. The Bear reality show is where we're headed. I'm excited. Team Lazy Boy, or whatever its name is. Okay, and the last thing, and this is something that I'm going to talk about a little bit in my presentation, but I just want all of Big Brother fandom, particularly Big Brother Twitter, to relax for a second. Because we gotta chill with letting fake spoiler accounts just exist and be popular. This is the most spoiler girl coded tweet I have ever seen. And I don't know who this account is. I'm sure they're a nice person. Well, I don't know. I've seen some of the tweets about some people, and it might not be nice people. But this... I think this might be Spoiler Girl. Was just told the cast less press release should drop Monday. Not confirmed. Was told most likely. They're not. Okay, that sounds about right. I believe it. Like... This is the most transparent, I have no fucking information tweet that I've ever seen. Like, this delegitimizes your entire account. Sources say the cast reveal will be out Monday, but it might be out at a different time. Who can say? I assume it's on Monday. It seems like the most likely answer, right? I mean, who can really say? Ultimately, they're guessing like the rest of us. And then there's one other Big Brother account I would like to talk about for just a second. For just a moment. See if I can find it. I don't know. I don't need to find the exact tweet. I don't know how I feel about this book. Look, you know, the Twitter account has been a little bit much and a little screaming psychotic a little bit. Maybe that's an insensitive word, but not good. Look, I can deal with calling out production. You know what? Look, speak your mind. You know what I mean? Followed by Felicia Cannon. Here's my problem. You can't defend Evil Dick. You can't defend Evil Dick. And they had a tweet being like, I'm so mad at everyone annoyed by Evil Dick. Evil Dick sucks. That's one of the worst. That's a good tweet. Why do people hate Bowie Jane so much? It's kind of setting her up a little bit, but I will say, this is absolutely a book you should read. Reagan's. I read this book. I interviewed Reagan about it. Reagan's excellent. Is it true they don't want to cast trans? I don't know. As far as I understand, the people on the casting team, I trust to not have that perspective. When it comes to the casting producers, casting executive, I have no idea the network's policy about it. I would really hope it's not a thing. But, you know, I trust the casting people. I don't have any relationship with any executives, of course. And I don't really have a relationship with casting outside of my interactions in casting. Thank you. What's up, Arquin? How are you? So that's one more little thing I found interesting. I don't know. Just saw some crazy shit going down. And then the final Twitter item I want to hit on before we dive into the bulk of today's stream is from Zach Wirt. Andy tweets, seeing gay men commenting positive stuff on this makes me feel insane. To be clear, this was Julie Chen saying she wanted Jessica Graff to play again, who, of course, was on BB19 and met her husband, Cody Nixon, who is a horrible fucking person. Not Jeff Schroeder ignorant, like violently, actively hateful. And then directly under Tommy's quote, Jessica is the it girl. I'll never forget sitting on the edge of my seat. So this is just a fire tweet. You do Reddit recaps when the season starts? Maybe not Reddit, but I'll do recaps of some sort. Cory saying stuff about Pam's gonna get the Cory's racist narrative. Don't call it a narrative. Look, if it's a narrative, it's because y'all are making it a narrative. The Cory's racism agenda is being powered up. Come on. But my main point is, look, I do believe I'm not a big fan of Jessica Graff. I was rooting for her during PB19, but that's crazy. Like, Cody's on a different level than basically every house guest you guys hate. Cody Nixon's on a different level than Matt Klotz, even Cameron, even Jeff. Like, he's on a new level. So, anyways, who's ready for the presentation? Because it's a Bratz presentation, a Brat vibe, at least the color scheme. BB25 rewatch will be uploaded tonight, already recorded, edited, will be posted after the stream. One thing I will say, actually, before we dive into this, so I rewatched of Big Brother 25. This is Bowie Jane's HOH, where she nominates Suri, Felicia, and backdoors Cameron. And really good week. Amazing episodes. Super, super fun. But why is Suri getting a mastermind edit at this point in the season? It's like Suri's like, I'm getting Matt and Jag to target Cory in America, and Cory in America to target Matt and Jag. And I'm like, Suri, this didn't happen. This is revisionist history. That pissed me off. Like, Suri obviously had the right idea and wanted this to happen, but she didn't have any impact on anything at that point. The one thing she tried to do was get Blue to not target me, and she failed. Which, I don't blame her. Blue was on a mission. It was an immovable... America walks in with a note. Like, you guys can't hear it. You should open TikTok on phone. People don't watch if you can't. Hi, TikTok. What's going on? My phone's open. Oh my god, BB26 theme is Brat Summer. Chat, do you guys feel like I'm cheating on you when I respond to TikTok? She's right. Yeah, there's only so much I can do. Social media mogul, yeah. Yeah, Blue was on a mission. She was gonna target me if Dan Giesling was in the house, trying to convince her not to. But that annoyed me. I'm like, really? Come on. Okay, let's get to the presentation. So, today we're talking about my BB26 wish list. And just to be sort of clear, every decision regarding BB26, from competitions to casting to twists to episode formats, it's all been decided. So I'm slightly shouting into the void on this one. Thank you for rooting for me, Jacob. I appreciate it. And there's a lot to discuss here. So let's just get into it, right? First of all, the obvious stuff. I want to zoom through it. This is stuff that everybody who makes one of these videos should talk about. First of all, equitable competitions. The biggest problem with Big Brother 26 is the back half of the game had 0 equitable comps, which led to a steamroll on behalf of Matt, Jag, and Bowie, mostly Jag. When you have competitions that always favor the most athletic house guests, they are more likely to win every competition, which is going to maintain the power structure. Also, it does irreparable damage to the rest of the season, the rest of the cast, as me as corywurtenberger has to dedicate a lot more time to building a relationship and building my alliance with Jag and Matt than I would Suri, Felicia, and Mimi. So that's one thing. The blue light's a vibe, it matches your shirt. See, Alan, I'm glad someone noticed it. I'm glad. That's what I was trying to do here. So that's what I want. Equitable competitions, so every week everybody could win HOH, which means as a player, you need to make sure you cover all your bases. It creates more possibility for dynamic gameplay, more possibility for swings, for flips, for just about everything, but we all know this. We've been talking about this for years now, basically since Big Brother 21, since Jackson went on his comp streak, maybe even 20 with Casey and Angela. And then finally, a diverse cast. Obviously, the 50% BIPOC requirement has been exponentially helpful. It's been amazing. But I still feel like Big Brother casting does leave something to be desired in terms of diversity. BB25 did much better in regards to age. I still think that diversity is lacking when it comes to sexual orientation. Even when it comes to, like, race and ethnicity, it like, on my season alone, I think there was, 5 of the 8 dudes were white. It's me, Cam, Red, Matt, Luke. The diversity's there, but it feels a little bit clumsy. Trans people, sure. I think there's strides to be taken when it comes to cast diversity. Can we get an Amish house guest and just expose them? Jacob, what the fuck does that mean? What? What do you mean expose them? Like, expose them to technology? That'd be crazy. You find, like, an Amish person in, like, an Amish, I don't even know what you call it, settlement. Throw him into the AI season of Big Brother. You throw him into the have-not room. Oh my god. It is a crazy idea. So diverse cast. These things kind of go hand in hand. You can't have a cast diverse in age if the competitions are not equitable. Because then what happens is you have Suri and Felicia make it to the final 5 when realistically they couldn't win 80% of the competitions, or couldn't even compete in 80% of the competitions in the back half of the game. So that is quite a big problem. First exposure to AI, yeah. All right, now I divided this presentation into a few things. First of all, I want to talk about the big picture structure of the show. Structure of the game, structure of Big Brother at large. And I have a lot of big changes I'm going to recommend. Will any of them be taken? No. But that's not the point of this exercise. We're trying to have fun. Tay, thanks for the gift. I will say I did try to make these suggestions somewhat realistic, because if I ran my Big Brother season, it would hardly even resemble the show that we all love. I appreciate you, Tay. Eddie says, I don't want to steamroll like BB26. I want less floaters as well. I do not think floaters was the problem, Eddie. I think there was very, very few floaters in BB25. But less of a steamroll, absolutely. I think the idea of floaters, like, who was a floater? I think Bowie Jane, you could certainly argue. And that's probably it. I think everyone else had established alliances and was actively playing one way or another. And I don't think there was even many coasters. Noah, thanks for the sub. Yeah, Zach told me he ran into you. Appreciate you. All right, let's talk about my structural recommendations for Big Brother 26. First off, shorter season. 100 days is asinine. Oh my god. The longer the season is, the more likely the season is to stall out, and the more mechanisms you need to extend the season. If you have to have a 100-day season, if you have to, the network is shoving it down your throat, just get 20 house guests. Get 18 house guests. When we have to do battle backs, and we have to stop weeks, and we have to do zombie week, and it just gets really tough to watch. Also, there's an adverse effect on the game. Because longer seasons mean these relationships, they go from, oh, these people I've known for a few weeks, I could betray them. They really do solidify. And the groupthink becomes stronger and stronger. By day 90, no one's pulling Matt or Jag away from each other. No one's even pulling Bowie Jane away from the two of them. A shorter season is going to lead to more dynamic gameplay. That's always been the case. And that will be the case next time. 20 is needed. I don't know if 20 house guests is just too much for the size of that house with the backyard closed. But I'd rather that than have 16 house guests who keep leaving and entering over and over again. Was Mimi a floater? No. I mean, Mimi, I think you could say was a coaster, but Mimi was in an alliance and stuck with it. It's not like she was just going wherever the power went, but she was certainly coasting. Was kind of just chilling. Mimi didn't play the game. She played the game. She was just very passive. Was waiting for her moment and got evicted before it could come. But I definitely understand what you're saying. Is it bad that I keep on calling you the Riz King? You should ask easier questions. I don't know what. No, it's not bad. Wait, sorry. R. Quinn. Yo, Cory, do you remember the picture of the girl in Jersey who put up the middle finger on the ride and Zach posted it? I know that girl and I dated her best friend. They are both annoying. Who are you and what picture are you talking about? What are you talking about? Get the Minutemen out of here? Okay. A shorter season. Based on what we know of the season so far, it seems like the season is going to be in the 80s, maybe in the 70s. I hope it's 75 days. I think that's the perfect length for a season. So hopefully this problem is actually going to be resolved. Sorry, big question in the Twitch chat. Do you think Frankie wins BB16 if not for the rewind week? Wow, I really gotta push my brain back. No, I think Derek or Cody wins. Probably Derek. No, Derek wins, but Frankie... Frankie would have been much better off. But thanks for asking, Jay Whittingham. I think everyone was thinking it. She did play hard. She just didn't align herself very strongly. She was trying to win, absolutely, but I don't think she was playing hard. I think she thought laying back was the right move. It wasn't like she was being lazy. Okay. Next structural change, unpredictability. Expect the unexpected, right? I'll be honest. When I was in the house, we were able to correctly predict every little twist that was going to happen in the house, basically. We knew when the double evictions were going to be, because the double evictions every season fall around the same time. There's one, like, early jury. For us, it was, like, the end of pre-jury because we had a shortened jury, and then one at, like, the final 7. Like, whatever, you know? So we know when the double evictions are coming, so everyone plans for them. It's supposed to be, like, a shocking thing to us cast members. Oh, it's a double eviction night. We all know. And you can tell because the backyard shuts are, like, there's so many telltale signs. Another example, we all knew when the wall competition was happening because it kind of happens the same time every season. So, is Zach going to the BB premiere? No, he's not. Zach's working in LA. So, I love double evictions. Let's put them in different spots. How crazy would it be if we enter the final 14 and there's a double eviction? Or how about this idea? I was thinking about this. We do the normal double eviction at the final 11, or final 10, whatever, and then the next week is another double eviction. Keep the house guests on their toes, because at this point, we think we know everything, and we're usually right. I think a week 2 or 3 double eviction would be crazy. A back-to-back double eviction, like week 2 has a double eviction, and then week 3 has double eviction, would be amazing. That is my recommendation. If you're going to say expect the unexpected, you have to be unexpected, because we were able to predict basically everything that was going to happen last season, barring the ridiculous twists, which obviously you can't predict. You're welcome, Eddie. An early season double would go hard. It'd be crazy, because imagine, like, you have 13 people playing in the HOH comp, and you theoretically have, like, 5 different sets of nominations. Usually the way these double evictions work is you get towards, like, the final 9, and, like, realistically, there's 2 sides of the house, and there's 2 sets of noms. With less people, you have much more relationships, much more chaos that could happen. Start with 20 people and have a double week 1. I think that would almost be too hard for the audience to track. Another example is, like, the split house. I think the split house, what if they just did it at the final 14, 2 groups of 7? You know, like, just shock us. You could reuse the same twist, just shock us with the scheduling. I think it's a device they haven't really even considered using. So, did you win the final 11 HOH? I won the final 10 HOH. Which is confusing, because Cameron also won the final HOH, or the final 10 HOH. Shout out Zombie Week. All right. I absolutely hated the 7-person jury in Big Brother 25, and the reason is none of us knew about it, first of all, so it kind of changes your plan on jury management and everything else. And it starts on day 72. They should tell the house guests from week 1 it's a 7-person jury and the season should just operate normally. A 7-person jury is I guess this was made before Bowie was in the jury. But a 7-person jury is the right thing to do. Having a 9-person jury is silly because you'll have someone who is evicted on like day 39 voting for the winner on day 85. Like, it's very goofy. 7-person jury is correct. They made the right adjustment last year. Hopefully it's just not a surprise this time. You know what I mean? They did a double back-to-back weeks in BB23. Yeah. Were there any extenuating circumstances as to why they did that? I wasn't watching that season super live. I was kind of just like checked in. Anyways, 7-person jury, I think we all agree, for the most part. The house guests start taking risks once jury starts. I don't think that's necessarily true. Like, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I really hope they're casting people whose main goal is not to make it to jury. I think they did the 7-person jury last year to avoid paying rent for 1 month, so I bet it'll stay. Yeah, that's probably a real reason. Just, it's cost effective. That's very, very possible. So let's talk about the final HOH competition. The final HOH competition is fundamentally flawed in a few ways. So as you all know, the final HOH competition consists of 3 parts. These 3 parts are always different, but they have a certain format. Part 1 is an endurance competition. Part 2 is some memory-based timed comp. You have to remember what happened in the season and run around and put things on a board. And then part 3 is a quiz. Now, in seasons past, part 3 used to be essentially a crapshoot. It would be fill in the blank from what a juror was saying. So it would be a 50-50, basically. That's good. The problem is, in order to qualify to part 3, you need to get through part 1 and 2. And parts 1 and 2 are both physical. I know some people might say, well, part 2, it's kind of like a puzzle, it's more mental. When you're running around having to zipline from one place to another, climbing a wall, that shit is physical. I don't care how many mental components there are. Didn't they do a jury comp in BB25? No, Katie. We were, like, giving our answers and whatnot, but it was just trivia questions. I like part 3 being a crapshoot. Basically, the point is, part 1 or part 2 of the final HOH cannot be physical. One of them has to be purely mental, or if it's the endurance comp, it could be like the pressure cooker. You know? In order to qualify to part 3, you have to win a physical comp. That's bullshit. You gotta give them a shot. So that is the deal with that. Okay. Now this is my hottest take. The Final Four veto has to go. It's gotta go. The Final Four veto is not an effective tool in Big Brother. First of all, it makes the Final Four HOH competition unimportant. The bigger deal with it, it makes comping out to the end almost like a reliable way to win Big Brother. Because when you're at the Final Four, you only have to beat 3 other people in that competition. And it gives people like Jag the opportunity, once you get to the Final 6, you're playing in every veto comp. And theoretically, you have 2 chances every week. You have HOH and veto, HOH and veto, HOH and veto. Of course, if you win HOH, you can't play the coming week. But when you have that Final Four veto, you could basically, if you like are Jag and you win HOH or veto at Final 5, you protect yourself. You have a really good chance of protecting yourself at Final 4 as well. It makes the Final 5 HOH super vulnerable. Yes, and I think that is super, super interesting. Because the Final 5 HOH has to figure out how to navigate the Final 4. And it's really, really challenging. Because Jag and Matt broke Big Brother. They just got rid of all the physical people and the season ended. The Final Four veto is a goofy-ass competition. It invalidates the Final Four HOH's plans entirely. And it allows people to just comp to the end. And that's not a good thing. It's too good. And also the nature of the Final Four veto, it tends to be a pretty physical competition, like a running around type vibe. Usually. That's usually where you get the big web. You have to fill in all the faces or the names of competitions or whatever. So I know this one's a little bold. I think we'd see how it would work in a season. Maybe there's some flaws. I think there would be a lot of people throwing the Final 5 HOH, which is kind of crazy because, like, damn, you're going to be that fucking bold to win the Final 5? You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of Survivor before fire making, where in order to win the game, you could win immunity, you could use idols up until the Final 5, but then you would need to survive the Final 4 round with your social ability, or if you win immunity, you could still win HOH at Final 4. I think this would provide like a final hurdle these compies have to get over. Okay. Now, Big Brother 25 was, for a while, people thought the theme was going to be like a return to the classics, an ode to Big Brother. Now, we found out that wasn't the case at all. They just had some comps. But I believe a lot of the classics that we would consider, you know, iconic Big Brother comps have grown a little bit stale. I'm kind of bored. And there's 4 specific ones that I've called out that I think they need to end. They have overstayed their welcome. The first one being the wall. I do not understand why the wall has stuck the way it has. It's just not necessary. Give us a new endurance comp. Give us something inventive. At this point, I'm bored of watching it. I don't want to do it anymore. I think there's also such a great disparity in which walls are competitive, which are not. Don't like the wall. I think it has long overstayed its welcome in the Big Brother mythos. So let's boot it. The next thing I would like to remove from Big Brother is the clown shoe veto. Big Brother has yet to figure out how to make a good double eviction veto competition. The table maze is pretty fun with Ian, but most of the time it's just running and retrieving items, and it's boring. It's not fun to watch. I think you want to watch competitions where, like, there's twists and turns and people are on the edge of their seat. You're literally just watching people run back and forth. It's happened every single season. It ridiculously favors athletic competitors, and it's getting more and more, you know, unequal, unfair every season. Clown Shoe's gotta end. Doesn't do anything. More quizzes? Yeah. I think the quiz is a great double eviction HOH competition. I like that. For the veto, I just want them to get a little bit more creative. Like, you know what would be cool? Think about the double eviction competition last year that Matt ended up winning, where you're dropping the ball in the tube. What if you didn't have to go retrieve the balls? You just had to drop them, and then they, like, weighed the tubes for your height. You know what I mean? You don't have to, like, get super, super creative. Just ways to make it like, oh my god, anybody can win. Because the chaos of a double eviction is who knows what the result's going to be. And they don't have to be luck. It doesn't have to be a crapshoot. It's just got to be, you know, fun and engaging to watch. They've done that before without the running. I know. That's what they should do. The balance beam. I know this is one that people might think is a pretty inoffensive competition, but this is an ass competition. This is so bad. This comp is so boring, and the confessionals watching this comp are like, I want to go fast, but I don't want to fall off the beam, so I'm going to take the middle balance beam. It's like, I'm so over it. It's so boring. Generally, I hate competitions where people just take turns doing it. It's also a horribly unfair competition. I'm sure you guys have thought about this. Whoever goes first is at a ridiculous disadvantage compared to whoever goes last, because whoever goes last knows the time they have to beat. so you could figure out like how fast you have to go or which path you need to take. And obviously it's very inequitable, of course. Like, this is a balance beam. I'm not saying you can't have physical comps. I think this one is just uninspired and boring, and I don't know why this became a classic, you know? Felicia on one of those? Yeah, y'all are lucky Felicia wasn't able to play in that HOH comp. She would have put up a blistering time. I did not put Slip and Slide on the list because they didn't do it last year. I know you guys are talking about Sweaty Scrimmage, but that's a different comp to me. And this is my big take, my real opinion, because I've watched almost all of Big Brother 25 over the past couple months, and stop giving us take turns timed competitions. You can do one or two, for sure, but these competitions are so fucking boring to watch, because you just see the same thing happening 6 times, the same people giving the same confessionals, and the same people win every single one of them. Jag won like 4 of these. Cam won. Heisem won. It is, like, these are the least equitable competitions by far. Because it always just comes down to speed. The tasks they have you do in these competitions are not difficult. Twisted tasks, my 10-year-old sister could knock out in 10 minutes. These comps are bad. If they want to do timed comps, that's fine. Just make sure that the actual, like, puzzles or whatever you have to solve are difficult, so it doesn't just become a foot race. Time comps are so chaotic, they just seem ridiculous. The biggest problem with them is they're boring on the TV show, which is how most people enjoy Big Brother. It's not in the feeds and then watching past players' Twitch streams. You know what I mean? I love veto competitions where everyone's competing at the same time. The timed veto, or the tiny veto, is super fun. Atomic Wedgie, which is the one where you stack all the flowers trying to reach it to the top, and then if they all tumble, you know. Any comp where everyone's competing at the same time is generally much more fun to watch. Even Cockadoodle Zoom. It's zippy, it's fast, dramatic, and then it ends. Would you have thrown the balance beam HOH? Not if I was on the block, Tom. If I was off the block, I still would have tried to win, because I think the first HOH is valuable. Don't count out us TikTok livers. I'm not. Come on, Biggie. You got something to say? Say it. I'll respond to your comment expeditiously. Save these good ones for the one solo time comp? Yeah. Mike says count them out. Alright. How to fix the TV show. Unsurprisingly, this is the longest category of the presentation, because holy shit do I have notes. All this time, Biggie, and you come up with LMAO? Unimpressed. That's what I am. The TV show, I think, has its moments. I think sometimes they get in their bag and produce good episodes, which is almost upsetting because you're like, what the fuck happened in all these other episodes? What's up, It's all good, Biggie. Like, how do you make so many good episodes and then so many bad ones? And there's so many problems with the TV show, and I'm going to try to get rid of all of them. First of all, this is probably my biggest point outside of just doing less competitions. Focus on the game and not the week. You might say, what does that mean, Cory? Isn't the game what's happening during the week? No. So often the show is focused on the structured content that the week has that they don't focus on the actual game. What that means is when Kirsten's on the block against Felicia, there was so much happening in the house that proved extremely important for like 10 weeks down the line. But instead, because they're going into a live eviction, they need to show people considering to keep Kirsten, even though that was never going to happen. The same thing happened when I was being evicted. I'm being evicted against America, but they have to have Sari in the diary room pretending to weigh that option. I think people who are being evicted, especially early boots, deserve to have their story told. You should be able to see them try to stay. But the truth is, a lot of weeks, the week is settled. Focus on what's actually happening in the game, so you can hopefully try to get ahead of what's going to happen the next week. Because so often that next week, someone wins HOH and something becomes relevant that producers did not expect, and then they have to play catch-up with flashbacks or whatnot. You guys were settled on Kirsten and talking about weeks to come? Yeah. Waffle Wednesday's rigged? Yeah. I'd argue every single week is the strategy that's happening is for the next. I think on our season, it was a little bit unique because we were actually legitimately flipping votes for the first 6 weeks, like at the last minute. But a majority of seasons, that is not the case. It's a lot more straightforward. The one week I saw them do this was during Cameron's HOH, or Cameron's eviction week, his real eviction week. Once Jag backdoored Cameron, or Jag used the veto, and Bowie backdoored Cameron, they basically said Cameron's going home, and we talked about next week. And it's one of the best episodes of the season. So don't focus on the week, focus on the actual game that's happening. Don't, like, convince the audience of something that's happening that's not. Okay. Live HOH competitions. Everyone knows the feeling. You're watching a Big Brother live show, and then right before the end of the episode, you're like, they're voting, and it's 49, 50, and then they do the goodbye messages, it's 54, and you're like, motherfucker, there's no live HOH comp. Now, having live HOH comps is valuable for a few reasons. Number one, it frees up the Sunday show. On Sunday, there's no competitions, so we could just focus on what happened during that last eviction, what's happening with nominations, what's the house dynamic, who's the target. Sunday episodes are usually the best, but they're not the best when we have to watch an entire HOH competition as if it was a veto. People love double evictions because it's live. The adrenaline's there. Their favorite might go home. Live HOH comps accomplish a lot of that, and you can do them every week. Like, we did Snot a Winner in our season, which was the crapshoot that Felicia won, and that competition wasn't live for some reason. Any competition you have the opportunity to make live, make it live. A negative about live HOH is we don't see a chunk of good stuff Thursday night on the feeds. Usually when they do a live HOH, you are going to get feeds that night. I guess you're saying the opposite. But yeah. I love when they have to try to explain things that we saw on the live stream. Yeah. It's true. They want there to be a competition in every episode. Yeah, but that's not the case this last season. They had competitions oftentimes on Sunday would be the HOH comp, Wednesday would be the veto, Thursday would be nothing. I guess they would treat the live eviction as their, like, live comp thing, but those are hella boring. So, not good. Not good. We all love live HOH comps. They're very doable. Give us a full Sunday episode, no competitions. It'll be great to watch. And you can even recap the comp. I know they love doing that. Now, more live eviction notes, and this is another hot take potentially. And there are some downsides of this. Voting should happen off screen. Now, here's what I mean by that. Julie should talk to the house guests. We get to hear the speeches of the people before they're being evicted. And then, when we go to commercial, that's when we should vote. Just have us vote off screen, and we can hurry up this process so fucking much. Instead of having 13 people walk in and out of the diary room to say, I sadly vote to evict Bronte. Shout out LSU, go Tigers, go Australia, good day, Julie. Like, we don't need it. We don't. Now, there might be some problems. Well, you're not going to be able to know who voted out who. Voting would be kind of anonymous to even the public. Well, first of all, you could just show the vote count. That's one option. Another option is explain it in the next episode where there's no HOH comp, where you have a lot of time to explain exactly how the vote went down. That's fine. That works. The shoutouts need to be banned. You have to understand, though, you can't ban the shoutouts because you can't stop them. It's live. But yeah, they should. The shoutouts are frustrating. Ultimately, they're not the biggest deal. It's just boring watching these evictions, especially when 90% of the time you know who's staying or going. automatic nomination if you do a shout out. It's like one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. Voting should happen off screen. It's boring. It drags down the live shows. Less time on this, more time on character moments and the live HOH competition. But how will I know if a contestant's BFF's boyfriend is having a birthday? You make a good point. Maybe some vote. In that scenario, they should be able to vote live. Shoutouts are great, though. I know they miss their family, and a second isn't going to kill us. Eddie, that is shockingly mature. I think if all of us had your attitude, we'd be a lot happier in life. But, no, fuck off. You're wrong. Banned. So. Alright. More character moments, of course. The best moments in any Big Brother episode is when you see a piece of content that really isn't game-related. It could be game-related, but you just get to know the characters a lot more. And a lot of these characters you might not like, you might actually get invested in. I thought Jag's turban tying segment that I just watched was amazing. I thought it made Jag super likable. It even made people like Matt and Bowie seem really likable. Mimi doing her storage room rants was very funny. Felicia talking about her time in the Air Force. I didn't know that scene existed. It's probably the most powerful shit I've seen the entire season. Make us like the house guests, or at least be invested in the house guests, so we give a shit about what happens in the game. It's pretty simple. One of the best segments, 100%. I love that segment. I had no idea it existed either, because at this point, I kind of know what's in the episodes and what's not. I never heard about that segment. I thought it was incredible. This one's very straightforward. This is something Survivor has done a lot better than Big Brother. Just more character moments. I want to see these people. Make me care about the people, so when they win HOH, I'm happier, and when they get evicted, I'm sadder. Alright, this is going to be a hot take. This is going to be a hot take. Less diary rooms. I've watched a lot of Love Island USA recently, and the editing on Love Island USA is a lot more lax. People still have confessionals, but they're a little bit more spread apart, and we get to see what actually happens. I feel like when I'm watching Big Brother, and you guys could disagree with me, a lot of times the confessionals make the scene extremely choppy. Like, it's me and Suri talking, and I'm like, Suri, I think maybe we should consider targeting Matt. And then it's me in confessional being like, I'm telling Suri we gotta target Matt. Eventually a big shot has to be taken. And then it goes back to Suri, and she's like, I think that might be a good idea. It goes Suri in confessional. I think Cory makes a good point. The purpose of diary rooms is to give the audience insight into people's true thoughts. I do not believe that is the role of diary rooms as currently constituted on the show. Sometimes it's great. I think Suri does a great job. I tried to give out my ideas, then Cam and America and Moments did as well. But the truth is, I would like to see more conversation, more actual shit happening, than a recap of the conversation I'm currently seeing. If someone is saying something in a conversation and, like, they have some actual idea of what they mean, that's the role of a diary room. I think DRs have a place, and I think they're overused right now. That's my opinion. And it's not, I'm not like, DRs are scripted. That's a whole different conversation. One we can have. That's not really what I'm concerned about right now. I think it just makes the episodes kind of difficult to watch. And let's be honest, some people are not very good in the diary room. They're not. Well, good thing I've got TikTok chat open. Sorry TikTok. My entire Twitch chat got spammed by bots. The mods are fucking them up right now. Name him, Cory. Well, I think someone like Matt. I'm watching this game with Matt and Jag, and the entire fucking season, the entire episodes, are basically painting Jag as the mastermind and Matt as clueless. Now, I think there's a little bit of truth to that. Jag was the more active, strategic player. What the fuck is happening? I'm sorry. The chat's going wild. But Matt is really bad in the diary room. Like, hard to watch, honestly. But if you actually showed just Matt having conversations with Bowie, Matt talking to Blue, Matt talking to Suri, I think they could paint a more accurate picture of who's actually, like, running the game and playing well. I think Jag gets a lot of the credit for casual viewers because he's a much more eloquent player and he's able to convey his strategic ideas better. And I think a lot of that's because Jag understood the strategy of the game a lot better. Turn on followers only mode. I don't really know how. Chat settings. Followers only. An hour. Alright. It should be good. Should be good. Alright, less diary rooms. It's a bit of a hot take. Izzy was a much stronger character in conversation than DR's. Absolutely. I would say some of my favorite scenes in the episodes are like those small character moments where they show Jag, me, and America joking around. Or like Blue just chatting with Jared. Like scenes that feel like they're just transitional pieces. I kind of wish more of the show was that. Basically, the thing I point to is Love Island. I think Love Island USA has a very interesting, like, hands-off approach to editing. And I think it's really effective. Okay. Up the production value. Look, this is basically me saying BBUS should get on Big Brother Canada's level in terms of costume design, set design, effort put into these twists. It's just a lot better. The fact that these were the zombie costumes and, like, they were just awkwardly standing out on the stage before entering the house, it's just a little bit lazy. Cory, Jag was the brain of the Minutemen. Matt did what he was told to do by Jag. To a certain extent, but there's also a lot of relationship building that Matt did that bailed out Jag several times in the season. It was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. Just do better with this. Big Brother Canada has a much smaller budget and I think does a much better job with a lot of these set pieces, twist, aesthetic design. It's just something I would like to see. It's a small thing. That's not why we watch the show, but it would be nice. It would definitely be nice. By the way, thank you, Katie and Tom, and it's a fucking battlefield out there. Thanks, Noah. Snap your competitions. We already talked about this. This is basically the opposite of timed competitions. Just shit that we can watch and happens fast. We don't have 6 people repeating the same thing. I don't think there's too much more to go into on this front. Okay, this is where I get into a bit of fan fiction land, because this would never happen. If we're doing less diary rooms in the episodes, on the live feeds once a week, give us BBOTT diary rooms. And for those who don't know, type in nuke host hub. All right. I don't think that did shit. So the way BBOTT diary rooms work, whereas they were live, you'd have BBOTT house guests enter the diary room, they'd have a list of questions, and they would talk. It would just be a live camera feed to the audience. I don't even need questions to be asked to the house guests. Maybe it could just be like default questions. Who do you feel, who do you trust the most? Who do you plan on targeting? What's your plan going forward? Who do you not want to win next week? Basically what this is it's a forced camera talk. And I think this would be a spectacular alternative to the way that diary rooms are currently being done on the show. And it would be very low effort. It would just be one of the cameras, 2 of the cameras would be in the diary room, 2 of them would be in the normal house, 1 day a week on Wednesday or Tuesday or something. That's what I want. It'll never happen. But this is my dream. Is it bad that I've never seen BBOTT? No. I think in the moment it was awesome and it was cool to watch. You should never rewatch it. I don't think it's a rewatchable show. The edited episodes are trash. But again, this is not going to happen, but this would be awesome. Okay, who remembers these? During live shows, Julie used to interview the HOHs live. This was cool. This was awesome. I enjoyed this a lot. Again, it's basically a live diary room session, but this is the shit I would much rather see than people just walking in and shouting out all their family members and saying, I vote to evict blank. I think it's a nice way to, like, end off the week. You kind of get the in conclusion. You can actually get into their head. Small thing. I just think it would make live shows better. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, this is a huge one. And this, I think, is something CBS is guilty of every season, and it's not just CBS. I think Survivor has done a better job of this, but even still, Survivor has its problem. Inevitably, not every house guest is going to have the same amount of screen time. It wouldn't make sense to give Mimi the same amount of screen time as Suri. It wouldn't. But I do think the show leans a little bit too much into the voices it likes because they think they're easier to work with in confessional. This obviously happens whenever there's returning players. This definitely happened with Suri, where it seems like Suri for the first half of the season, rightfully got a ridiculous amount of airtime because she was running the entire game. But in the second half, they still love Suri, so they still give her a ton of content when she really has very little to do with what's happening in the game. Now, part of that is because Suri is a much better narrator and a much better speaker and a much better character than basically everyone else in the house. But it does warp the viewing experience. Like, Cameron should not have more diary room sessions than Felicia or Matt. It doesn't make sense. Part of that is because of competitions. Whenever there's a veto comp, those people have a billion DRs, especially when you win the competition. But I think Big Brother needs to do a bit better in balancing out the content. I think I got a fair amount of screen time. Honestly, I feel like I'm mentioned a lot more on the episodes than I actually have content about myself. Like, everyone's always talking about me as the mastermind, me as the whatever. But, like, it's always from someone else's perspective, which I find pretty interesting. I don't hate it. But I think the amount I've seen America so far this season, like, it's kind of ridiculous. She's had nothing. Mimi had no content. Bowie had no content until they were forced to. And I understand a lot of times these players aren't giving you what you want in the diary room. But that goes back to my other point. You shouldn't have your entire, like, episodic philosophy determined on who gives good diary room sessions. If you just get to show Matt talking to people in the house or Bowie chatting with whoever, I feel like we'll have a much better balance than structuring the show around DRs and then, you know, understandably, whoever has bad DRs is not in the episode. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. I don't think BB26 will have returnees. I feel like they've been very clear. No returnees, all new players. Could they switch up? Yeah, but it doesn't seem likely. America was the second most under-edited person of the season. Relevant Moose, I'm curious. Who do you think is the most under-edited? Because I assume you're going to say Izzy, and I disagree. I really disagree. I think you could argue Matt, but damn, Matt is dreadful in the diary room. Like, so boring. America lost AFP because of her lack of edit. I think America had an uphill battle to AFP. I think there was a lot of people splitting those votes. I feel like they need to do better with casting. There's no way they thought Matt would give good DRs. Well, yeah, but that's not why he was cast, right? Everyone's cast for a different reason. I think it's just, you have to make sure your casting philosophy and TV production philosophy are the same. If you're going to build the show around diary rooms, you got to make sure you cast people who are good in confessional. But if your show is not built on diary rooms, you could maybe, you know, make some of those different casting calls. Moose made an interesting thread on Reddit about this. That's interesting. Twists. My least favorite part of Big Brother, but they're going to happen. And there's some I'd like to see back. Some general comments I have on the twists I like, the twists I don't. Let's get into it. Okay. I would love for them to try to do a good Invisible HOH. An Invisible HOH where the HOH competition isn't physical. I was excited for it in BB25, and it flopped because of the way it was designed. Let's run it back and just do a good job. Give us a crapshoot. Or at least an equitable competition. And do not let them play the next week. Which older seasons have you seen? I've seen all of them. All of them. I've never seen BB1. Some of them are blurry. BB 4, 5, 9 are kind of blurry, but I've seen all of them. I want to run this one back. Just fix it. Like, the obvious mistakes that were made, just do them without these mistakes. Triple eviction. And when I say triple eviction, I do not mean Big Brother US triple eviction, where they just do an eviction back to back to back to back. I want a triple eviction Big Brother Canada style. Some of you guys might not know how that works. Basically, someone wins HOH, nominates 3 people instead of 2. The veto competition works as normal. You have the HOH, 3 noms play, 2 people by random draw. And everyone at the end of the week votes for one person to stay. At the end of the night, votes for one person to stay. The other 2 are evicted. I would just like to see it. The one thing that I think is a little bit problematic is, obviously, if they did this twist, they wouldn't tell the house guests about it beforehand. So there'd be no way to plan around it, which would basically make it a big element of, like, randomness and unpredictability, which could be fun to watch, but as a player, it's kind of boring. But I think the Big Brother Canada triple eviction would be interesting. And now that BB Canada's canceled, I don't want BB US to view it as competition. Just steal their shit. You've got rights to the concept of Big Brother. Just take all the good stuff they have and use it. So, the triple was a bad idea, though. I'd like to see it play out in BBUS. I think the doubles are getting a little bit stale. And every time it's happened to BB Can, it's been amazing. You're right, Sydney. HOH is too powerful. It is very powerful, but, you know, I'd like to see it. No battle backs. Oh my god, this is, like, my strongest opinion about twists. Eviction needs to be permanent. It needs to be. Stash still going strong. Thank you. Turn the heat up. What a king. Here's the problem with battle backs. There's a lot of them. So, the first problem is it incentivizes safe gameplay. Especially when you know there's going to be a battle back, people are very hesitant to take out the big threats. The reason being, you might send Heisem out the door, and he's immediately going to win his way back and get HOH. If we knew Zombie Week was coming, maybe we wouldn't have targeted Cameron or Jared, out of fear of them coming back and winning a competition, sending us home. Number 2, it incentivizes people to be very nice to people on the way out. Look, dogpiling's terrible, bullying is terrible. But when you have people like Izzy leaving goodbye messages for Red, I want Izzy to be able to be honest in her goodbye message without being fearful of Red coming back in the house. That would be really bad. Battlebacks just incentivize people to play nice until they know there's no more battlebacks. You basically have to do, like, jury management at the final 14. But the biggest reason why battlebacks suck, of course, they slow down the pace of the game. Oftentimes we move backwards. We just have to get the same person evicted. Maybe they'll win an HOH. Maybe they'll win a veto. But it is very rare that a battleback results in a drastically different game. Now you might say, what about Jag? Well, I also say no resets. Nothing pisses off an audience more than watching a full week of episodes. And Big Brother's a big commitment. You watch 3 hours a week most weeks. And then seeing it amount to nothing. Or in Big Brother 25's case, go backwards. You watch this exciting double eviction and all of a sudden the amount of people in the house doubles after Zombie Week. So no resets, no battlebacks. A shorter season should solve all these problems. If you have to get, you know, a certain amount of days out of it and you got to stretch out the season, I prefer you get rid of a double eviction than bring someone back. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Now, Big Brother 25, I believe, did one thing very well when it comes to twists. It was a season of some bad twists, for sure. I think they did America's Vote very well. if America's vote is going to happen, I think the way that they did the power of invincibility is pretty fair. Because if it came down to just voting a single person to have a power, which they've done many times in Big Brother, Suri, who has a built-in audience, would have just won the power and it would have been very boring. Making it top 4 and then having all 4 people compete in a relatively equitable competition, I believe makes, the inherent unfairness of America's vote more fair. That's how I feel. And I see someone in the chat, Mountain says, it was a decent way to do this. I just wish they didn't do it at all. I think they like America's vote. I think as viewers, it's fun. We get to help someone out. I just don't like it when it's like us voting for Jessica to get the halting hex so she could just stop an eviction, and then we have to wait another week for it to happen. It's just boring. I also hate when there's like a recurring America's vote where they keep voting on new people to get powers, and once you win one, you can't win another. Because then, like, you end up giving Jessica some stupid power, and, like, you accidentally give Christmas the Ring of Replacement, because, like, you don't, like, America doesn't vote strategically. We just vote for who we want to win it. So we're not able to, like, hold off for the right power to give somebody. It's just messy and it's stupid. They should show us how many votes each person gets. It's not rigged. I don't believe that. Jessica's hex was kind of entertaining within the house because of the drama that happened. Yeah, every twist, no matter how badly designed it is, could still end up working out in certain ways. But if you're going to do America's vote, I think doing it in the way Big Brother 25 did it, it's pretty good. Did you like America's player twist in Season 8? No, I thought it was horrible. So bad, Eddie. I mean, it was very fun content-wise just because Eric, being America's player, is insane because he was obviously the best player of the season. And it led to a very entertaining game, but it's extremely unfair. And as someone who's rooting for Eric, it's not the easiest season to rewatch. Okay, now I've got some specific notes for the players and then for the fans. Let's talk about for the players. Now, look, they're in sequester. They're going to start their once-in-a-lifetime journey in a couple of days. But I've still got some notes, and it's very simple. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I want super fans, and I want hot super fans who are cool and don't get in showmances, and I want people who are going to try to win and going to get in big fights, but not be problematic, obviously. But in those fights, be personal, but not too personal, you know? This is all I want. I don't want any main character syndrome, which is something that is very easy to get in the Big Brother house. Never believe that you are the main character. It always looks bad. You're always just setting yourself up for failure. When you assume that the audience loves you, and if you're wrong, damn, you look like a jackass. Very, very frustrating. Very frustrating to watch. I want people to have fun. I think Big Brother 25 was a uniquely miserable season. It was 100 days. It was very long. And by the end, I think a lot of people were not having fun. I think Suri wanted to bail. I was stressed out of my mind. I was losing it, honestly. I think Felicia, in moments, was over it. And ultimately, all of us were grateful to be in there. But I want it to be fun. I want people to enjoy playing Big Brother. And I think that makes for much more enjoyable feeds. Much more enjoyable TV show. A lot of that is going to be production helping the experience be a little bit better, shortening the season. There's a lot of things. Stavi, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. A lot of new subs. Very cool to see people getting in the mode for BB. And only one more thing. Oh, two more things. Camera talks. Camera talks are good. As people who watch the live feeds, it's the only real way we get insight into what you are planning, what you want to do. I think I was the only person on Big Brother 25 to really reliably camera talk. I know Blue did sometimes. America tried it once or twice. If we're not going to get to hear your real thoughts through diary rooms, let me hear them through camera talks. That'd be good. Raven was a wild experience. Yeah, Raven's crazy. Arguably good casting. I would argue no. Finally, and I apologize to Bowie Jane, who was trying to win, I believe, but a very misguided attempt. Try to win. Just try to win. Look, go all out. America, when she's leaving during her double eviction, was crying and I think she might have been embarrassed by it, but I think all the fans were happy to see it because she's trying and she cares. Ultimately, if you have people who are trying to win and not bad people, you're going to get a good season. It's that simple. So these are all my requests. These are the only real ones. Don't be a main character. Have fun. Try to win the show. I'm not that picky. That's all I want. That's it. This feels doable to me. America was campaigning hard, crying like a true player. Exactly. Your cam talks were top notch. They are. Look, I think camera talks are great. In the first couple of weeks, they're very likely not going to show them because there's so much going on in the house. But late at night, if everyone's asleep, you sneak off for a moment. They could be on the feeds. There's literally life-changing money on the line. Why aren't people wanting to win? I think the money doesn't feel real for a very long time. It feels very far out. But as you get closer and closer to the money, I think it becomes more real. Like, I did not think about winning the money one time. It was always just what's the best move for me to try to win the game. But then once I was like, okay, am I going to be in the final 7? I could actually win $750,000. It's almost like you can't think about the money too early, but once you get there, you got to win. Feels like a mirage for most of the game, literally. Mountain Doofus. Okay, now this is an important category because this is something that can actually change. The fans are not sequestered. To all of you on Twitter, all of you on TikTok, all of you on Twitch, take notes because I have a lot of thoughts about the Big Brother fan base. And I could summarize all of it in don't be toxic, but that's not going to happen. So I'll be a little bit more specific. First off, no contrarianism. What does that mean, Cory? It means don't hold the wrong opinion just because everyone else holds the right opinion. It's so annoying. Oh my god. Like, so often, Big Brother there's a lot of groupthink going on. But the correct adjustment to groupthink is not wacky, batshit opinions. I remember for the first half of the season, Suri, Izzy, Felicia, Jared, they're running the show. And then we flip the vote on Izzy. And that day there were tweets being like, why aren't you rooting for the underdogs now? And it was like a picture of Jared. Just be normal. It's okay to have whatever opinion you want. But I feel like a lot of times these people don't actually have these opinions. They just want to be different. I feel like a lot of my other points are more fluent and clear what I was saying. But, like, this just pisses me off. Like, come on. Come on, please. We can't unironically stand Delulu players. You can. As long as you're self-aware. And look, here's the other thing. Players have the right to be delusional. You, as a fan, do not. Players don't have access to the information. You do. So no, you can't be Delulu. They could be Delulu, and you could clown on them for being Delulu, but when you're Delulu, you're the actual clown. People need to come up with their own opinion and not follow the crowd. Yeah, people can come up with whatever opinion they want. Just make sure you're ready to actually defend your opinion. No revisionist history. I swear to God, if some point during the season, people are going to post a picture of, like, Bella from BB21 and be like, low-key, though, she was iconic. Or they're going to post a picture of Jag wearing a veto necklace being like, honestly, I miss when Jag was winning the vetoes. That was kind of like in an ironic way, it was really funny. It's like, no. Remember where we were? What's your Florida Man birthday challenge? That's a good one. I got to think about it, Mango. No revisionist history. I remember, like, people are like, actually, though, this was kind of an iconic season, and they post BB19. And it was, like, terrible. Low-key, she was a great player, and it's a picture of Holly from BB21. Like, you could say they're underrated, but, like, try to put yourself back in the headspace of what you thought in the moment. Because I guarantee that version of you knew better than the version of you now, who just looks at a picture of someone and is like, I liked them, actually. They gotta bring her back, and it's a picture of Alex O. It's like, no, please. Liz was better than Steve. Yeah, exactly. Like, just the stupidest horseshit ever. Yeah, low-key, watching Cody navigate BB-22 is impressive. Like, yeah, it was impressive, but I don't give a shit. Thanks, Noah. Mr. Destructoid clap. Alright. This one's a little charged. Do not believe spoiler accounts unless you have a real reason to do so. Just don't. Please. Please don't. Don't do this to me again. Please. If they prove themselves to be very, reputable and they keep, that's okay. Just don't believe it. Please. It's not worth it. Anyways. Okay. This is one I've seen recently. Do not tribalize America's favorite house guest. It's not that deep. Vote for who you want to vote for. If you want to organize, it's fine. But let people vote for who they want to vote for. You don't have to organize against Facebook. It's not that deep. It doesn't matter. Cam winning AFP, it's okay. It's fine. Like, the truth is, people who wanted Suri to win AFP definitely didn't want me or America to win. And people who wanted me and America to win probably didn't want Suri to win either. So, like, this is not a vote for Hillary, Bernie or bust situation. Just vote for your favorite house guest. Because this is something I want you guys to understand. You guys do not have control of who wins AFP. It's production. Not because it's rigged. It's not at all. The votes are the votes are the votes. I fully believe that. But 99% of the votes come from people who watch the edited episodes. And the episodes are edited not intentionally to give someone AFP, but they're edited to try to make what they think is the best story, which is going to place someone as the AFP. Does that make sense? Follower goal met. Nice. Just don't overestimate your power as BB Twitter, because you don't have power. The casuals have the power. Hopefully, it's like Big Brother 24, where like the casuals and the super fans are kind of on the same page about some things. Casual viewers are annoying. Sure, but their vote counts just as much as yours, and they're probably going to vote more consistently. That's another hot take of mine. It's kind of like why like old Republicans vote a lot more than young liberals, or like young leftists. like we can clown on them as much as they want, but they bust their ass to the polls. They've got their 10 Blackberries lined up voting for Cameron. Meanwhile, you guys are like hacking into the mainframe trying to bot Meet America 86 billion votes. So just don't overestimate your power, okay? Just vote for your favorite player. Hopefully they win. And don't get mad at this. Shit would just piss me off. And this is the last one. Bring your fucking receipts. So many bitches on BB Twitter don't bring any receipts, and it pisses me off. Because the amount of things I'd have to read that's like, people criticize the stuff that Blue said, but Cory and America said things just as bad. And then someone's like what? And they go, bitch, I don't have time to find out what. I watched the feeds, I saw it. It's like, well, yeah, but the other people do have the quotes and the things and the clips. And it's not just Blue, obviously. Right? Like people are like, Taylor actually was kind of acting wild in BB24. It's like, oh, where? They're like on the feeds. You're like, oh, do you have any like moments or things? It's like, no. Look, it is no one's responsibility to sit there and catalog the season to win arguments on Twitter. But if you're going to go on Twitter to argue, have some shit to back your arguments up. Okay? bro, to this day, I see America's racist tweets. It's not just America, it's everyone. Like, every house guest, every fan has a problem with every house guest. And a lot of those problems are true. They're real. They're legitimate. But every one that is true and legitimate, there's footage to back it up. Quotes to back it up. Because it's live feeds. There's a lot of content there. So if you're gonna say some shit, just back it up. That's all. Because I'm not proud of everything I said in the house. I don't think anyone is. I didn't say anything that bad. I think there's some things I said, some words I've said that I would like to take back, Noah, for sure. Some of the ways I would talk about Jared, I think there's certainly some subconscious biases at play there. I think there's, everyone fucks up in moments, for sure. But obviously there's levels to these things. Nothing problematic, of course not. But I think you could definitely argue microaggression-y, which, again, we don't have to go into it, but, like, the point is I'm a flawed person, everyone is. But if you're trying to make the case that Cory's anti-black, or anyone, like, I think you should bring receipts, because the truth is they don't exist. That's all. That's the whole point. That's the point. So that's it. That's all I got. Enjoy it. Have fun, BB Twitter. It's supposed to be fun. Nothing you or America said came close to the vile things out of the Mafia's mouth. Yeah, like, it's not a competition. I think everyone should hold themselves to their own standard. Right. I think that's a healthy way of doing this. Eddie, thanks for the 3 gifted. I appreciate you. The massage kale thing was too far? Yes, and America has privately reached out to Mimi to apologize for that. Big Brother house, it really brings out the worst in you. But that's it, y'all. Fun stream. No stream tomorrow. Finally taking a day off. Will stream on Saturday, playing Blood on the Clock Tower. If the cast gets announced tomorrow, I will be watching that. For sure. I will boot up stream to talk about that. Probably going to be announced Monday, though, in which case I'll also stream then. Stream should be Saturday and Monday, unless the cast gets announced Monday or Friday or Sunday, in which case I'll stream then, too. Thank you all for coming. Patreon.com/Americory. Let me just throw it in the chat. I will be posting the Week 10 rewatch today, Strategy Corner tomorrow. That'll be posted within the hour, so hope you guys enjoy it. Cast will be on Monday. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Appreciate y'all. I'll RHAP Pressure Cooker tomorrow. Yeah, it should be fun. Watch it. Does someone have Nez's thing? His username? It's N3Z Modgodica. Alright. Send Nez love. Appreciate y'all on TikTok. Obviously, homies on Twitch. Appreciate you guys. We stream before The Bachelorette. Yeah, probably. I don't know. We'll see. Whenever the cast gets announced, I'll go live as soon as I can, basically. Might be during the day, might be at night. Have fun, y'all. See ya.